But for Meghan, it's game over. Because the Duchess of Sussex CRAP is part of her branding, right? First of all, she's been using HRH against the wishes of the Queen, the late Queen Elizabeth. She said she wouldn't use them. She puts it in private correspondence to her friends.
Meghan Markle is allegedly very worried that Prince William could move to strip her of her Duchess of Sussex title when he becomes monarch. Of course, Harry and Meghan remain the Duke and Duchess of Sussex despite giving up their royal duties 5 years ago and then going on to...
And she doesn't feel that she should have to give up that right. Now, in terms of the private card surfacing on social media, Meghan has never been one to fully address these kinds of controversies head on.
Duchess of Drama? More like Duchess of Delusion. Meghan thinks her title is untouchable, but when William becomes king, the gloves are off, and Markle is about to find out just how fast Duchess can turn into plain old Meghan.
Because Meghan needs it more than Harry, the title. And I'll tell you for why.
Meghan Markle isn't just worried about losing her Duchess title. She's apparently gearing up like a general preparing for battle. Insiders say she's quietly rounded up a full squad. Lawyers, strategists, PR consultants, the Hollywood Avengers of royal defense.
Monarchy. However, this recent decision to strip Prince Andrew and Fergie of their royal titles has reportedly sent a chill through Montecito.
Sources claim she calls this her non-negotiable identity battle because, according to Meghan, losing the title would be nothing short of existential erasure. "My title is who I am," she's reportedly telling friends, as if the monarchy owes her lifelong security for being dramatic and Instagram-ready. Sweetheart, that's exactly the problem.
Crane, who called her HRH, and she shared that on Instagram, knowing full well what she was doing. So she needs the HRH where she can, and she needs Duchess of Sussex. Did you see a little...
The palace sees titles as privileges, not property. They're honors, not trademarks. Yet Meghan treats hers like a crown jewel that must never leave her grasp. Sources say she's convinced that without the Duchess of Sussex tag, her whole public persona collapses. Media interviews? Less exciting. Charity optics? Faded. Brand influence? Gone. Losing it, she fears, would make her and Harry just another couple with a Netflix deal, instead of a royal-powered media empire.
A screenshot from one of her recent Instagram videos where she's got a bag and it says DS on it.
Insiders claim Meghan is already talking about worst-case scenarios and her multi-pronged response. If William dares to touch her title, she's reportedly ready to go to court, dominate headlines, and leak strategic stories to soften the blow. One source said, she's completely convinced she can fight this, through the courts, the press, and the public opinion machine. Basically, she's preparing for a royal hurricane, and everyone else is supposed to bend before it.
To use the Duchess of Sussex title.
Absolutely.
I mean, she uses it on her website. She tries to sell her candles and her jams.
Her whole global brand is based on being the Duchess of Sussex. It's not about being a former actress, although apparently she's now filming a new TV series or movie or something.
But here's the juicy part. Palace sources say William isn't flinching. The future king has watched this circus long enough. He knows Meghan's legal threats will be loud, messy, and high profile, but entirely predictable. Removing a title is not chaos, it's strategy. Meghan may be imagining dramatic courtroom showdowns, but insiders say William's plan will be calm, methodical, and unbothered by her theatrics.
That is how tacky this woman is. That she's commissioned a bag with her letters really big. Stay classy, love.
Meanwhile, Meghan is reportedly spiraling behind the scenes. Friends say she spends hours envisioning a world where she is stripped of her Duchess status, panicking about public perception, and obsessively planning ways to prove she's untouchable.
They're in the same pool, fighting for the same opportunities, less resourced and less well connected than their celebrity chums like Oprah and people like that, Serena Williams and so forth. So it's a real issue for her.
The legal storm she's building isn't just about law, it's about survival, ego, and control. And insiders say the more she digs in her heels, the more deliciously precarious it becomes. Because let's be real, the higher she climbs in her drama, the further she risks falling.
DS. The point about being Duchess of Sussex is you don't ever have to write it down. You are the Duchess of Sussex. You wear it in a very unobtrusive way.
So, what sent Meghan spiraling? What finally made her clutch that Duchess title like it's a life preserver? Enter King Charles, quietly making moves behind the palace doors that Meghan didn't see coming. Sources say the spark was him removing Prince Andrew's remaining privileges and watching Sarah Ferguson's status quietly shrink to almost nothing.
So reports have emerged that Prince William is planning to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles when he ascends to the throne. Now, these rumors have been floating around for a while now, and it all tracks back.
One moment, Andrew is HRH Andrew, Duke of York. The next, he's plain old Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And Meghan reportedly screamed internally, and maybe out loud, "That could be me next."
Intrusive way. You know, you've just got to be cool about it. You don't write it down on your bloody luggage. So not classy, but that's Meghan, such a wannabe. How embarrassing.
For the first time in years, Meghan seems to have truly grasped the reality. The monarchy is not a voluntary fan club. Titles are not inherited Instagram badges. They are privileges handed out at the discretion of the sovereign. And when the sovereign, or in this case the future sovereign, decides the package isn't fitting anymore, poof, gone. Just like that. Sources say Meghan watched the Andrew situation unfold like a horror movie, heart racing, imagining herself standing in the eye of that royal storm.
Quit the royal family way back in 2020. At the time, they obviously had many discussions with the Queen and other members of the royal family about what their roles were.
Friends reportedly told Radar Online that Meghan now sees her Duchess title as more than a label. To her, it's her brand, her shield, her personal passport to influence. Take it away, and suddenly the carefully curated public image she spent years building, the one that turns royal connection into Netflix deals, speaking fees, and headlines, crumbles. Losing the title isn't just symbolic. In her eyes, it's erasure. And she's ready to fight it tooth and nail.
Do you think that Catherine would have PC in there, Princess Catherine? Do you think she would do that? No, not in a trillion years. Coming to Catherine in a minute, by the way, because Catherine.
Sources say this shock also awakened Meghan to William's potential role in the process. Charles may have made the Andrew and Fergie moves, but William is reportedly far more decisive, far less sentimental, and far more willing to trim titles that don't fit his vision for a streamlined, modern monarchy.
And moved to California. After a lot of discussion, it was decided that the two of them were no longer going to be able to use their HRH titles.
Meghan's awareness of this reportedly sent her panic level into overdrive. Friends say she's been obsessing over every possible scenario. From a quiet removal behind closed doors to public confrontation that could dominate international media.
Is not pulling her punches. It's a great story. She's dealing with Prince Andrew in a delicious way. But look, so it's terrible for Meghan.
Even the palace insiders whisper with barely hidden smirks. Meghan is now fully aware that titles are conditional, not guarantees. And this realization, combined with William's quiet determination to keep the monarchy efficient, is said to have lit a fire under her like never before.
HRH titles. This is largely because those titles are afforded only to a very few people within the...
She may be charming the public with rebrands and PR statements, but inside, Meghan reportedly feels cornered, defensive, and ready to swing hard. Because once she understood what the royal family can and will do, suddenly, nothing is off limits, and every friend and lawyer in Montecito better be ready to suit up for battle.
It's Duchess of Sussex on her luggage. And when she's got her show on TV, the Netflix show, at the end...
Let's be honest. If there's one thing the royal world loves more than a crisis, it's a palace insider with a penchant for spilling tea, and this time, Meghan Markle is the hot subject. According to sources, Meghan is deeply unsettled over whispers that Prince William may one day move to strip her of the Duchess of Sussex title. And apparently, she's been saying the same line over and over to anyone who will listen. No one is taking my Duchess title. No one.
Having that royal cachet is what people like and what makes people buy her jam or her edible flowers or whatever it is on her website.
But here's the thing. Inside the palace, that line doesn't exactly elicit fear. It elicits eye rolls and quiet strategic planning. Friends say Meghan treats the title like it's a lifeline, an emblem of her identity and the cornerstone of her carefully curated brand. Lose it, and suddenly she's just Meghan Mountbatten Windsor, a name she reportedly dislikes, stripped of the glamour and influence that comes with the Sussex label.
After his involvement in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, and many believed that when Harry and Meghan left the royal family, they should lose the ability to use those royal titles in everyday life. Now, it's a bit of a complicated subject because Harry and Meghan have always gone by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Sources say she sees that title as more than ceremonial. It's her shield, her ticket, her leverage, and, frankly, her claim to relevance in a world she left behind physically, but hasn't stopped trying to dominate virtually.
Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Now, if she hated the royal family, which she claims that she did, if they are a bunch of racists.
Insiders claim Meghan's obsession with holding on to the title has her pacing, planning, and quietly assembling strategies. She reportedly envisions every scenario: a legal fight, a PR campaign, a series of leaks to soften the blow, or even a high-profile media battle that will make the headlines scream her side of the story.
Will be catastrophic for her if she loses her title. And I think it's ridiculous that the suggestion that somehow she would sue the future king about this and, this title is mine. It is not hers.
Friends say she's treating this like a life or death mission because, in her mind, the Duchess title is her life. Losing it, she believes, would erase her identity, her influence, and everything she's built since stepping away from royal life.
She clings so readily to the branding of an institution which she detests. Well, because she doesn't hate the royal family. She doesn't think anything about the royal family.
Palace insiders, however, see it differently. They report that Meghan's panic is understandable, yes, but also almost comical in its intensity. The monarchy isn't about fear, it's about rules, protocol, and discretion. And the people who hold the power, the future king included, aren't intimidated by threats of legal action, no matter how many lawyers, consultants, or media allies Meghan gathers in Montecito.
By an institution that she rejected and criticised heavily. So she's in no place to say, it's mine, I will sue you if you take it off me.
William is apparently calm, calculated, and completely unconcerned with her declarations. To him, it's not about crushing Meghan's ego. It's about protecting the institution from the drama she and Harry have so publicly built.
What is good for Meghan and what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. And she finds the Duchess of Sussex title a real mic drop. If that wasn't the case, it wouldn't be all over her website, all over her TV show, all over the podcasts.
In short, Meghan is reportedly circling the wagons like a general in battle, convinced the title is non-negotiable, while palace insiders watch her antics unfold with a mixture of fascination and quiet amusement. She's preparing to fight, to defend, to scream, and perhaps to embarrass herself in front of the world. But the palace? They're just waiting for her to realize that some things, no matter how much you clutch them, aren't yours to keep.
It's dirty. He'll just sign the letters patent, which disappears the title. You won't even have to talk to her about it.
I just think it's outrageous the way she uses the title, but then the way she rubbishes the royal family and promotes herself by talking about how difficult it was for her, that whole experience being a princess.
Victim complex.
Let's not kid ourselves. The Sussex title isn't just a fancy label. To Meghan and Harry, it's the power grid behind their entire empire. Every media interview, charity appearance, sponsorship deal, or Netflix project is amplified by one simple thing: the word Sussex. Strip it away, and suddenly the influence they've cultivated for years looks a little ordinary. One insider even put it bluntly: without the Sussex titles, everything shifts. Their leverage collapses.
It's going back on Netflix next month. With Love, Meghan. It's back at this time for a Christmas-themed special, which will premiere on December 3. What can we expect? More flower sprinkles?
Meghan reportedly understands this perfectly. She sees the title as more than ceremonial. It's a business asset, a social signal, and her personal proof of connection to the royal family. Take it away, and she loses more than prestige. She loses the very currency she's been spending to maintain relevance in Hollywood, on social media, and across international headlines.
He's going to take that away from her. And it's the right thing to do. And Charles should have done it, but he's got no backbone.
According to sources, she has been telling friends that if anyone tries to touch it, she will fight through the courts, the press, and the world if necessary.
Berry sprinkles, I think. There'll be lots of Christmas, my famous Christmas recipes, my Christmas traditions, how to get along with your family Christmas, or maybe not that, maybe she won't go there, I don't know, but...
And it's not just the legal side. Friends say Meghan views the Sussex title as a kind of personal armor, a shield against critics, and a way to justify her lifestyle, her ventures, and her global ambitions. Losing it wouldn't just be symbolic. It would be like someone unplugging her microphone while she's mid-speech, making her world vanish in a flash.
He's irredeemably weak. And it's bad news for the kids, of course. Bad news for Archie and Lily. I don't call Lily Lilibet because that's a stolen name from the Queen.
Palace insiders reportedly roll their eyes at the intensity of her attachment. Yes, titles carry weight, but they are not yours by default. The monarchy runs on discretion, hierarchy, and protocol. And while Meghan and Harry may have monetized their royal connection brilliantly, insiders suggest William sees that as exactly the problem. Titles should serve the crown, not an individual brand.
Since they married and were afforded those titles by the Queen. However, there is a bit of a difference between using Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Meghan is reportedly willing to throw everything she has into holding onto the title, from media manipulation to legal threats. But insiders whisper that the palace isn't intimidated. The Sussex title may be powerful, but it's not permanent. And the higher she climbs on it, the harder the fall could be.
But Archie and Lily, who I've got nothing against them, two sweet little kids, it's not their fault that their parents are imbeciles. But if your parents are idiots, your parents are idiots, and you will pay the price.
Royal sources suggest that Prince William has already made up his mind regarding the Sussex titles. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, but out of cold, calculated strategy. William reportedly wants a monarchy that's streamlined, responsible, and scandal-proof, far removed from Hollywood-style dramas. Meghan and Harry, they've monetized the royal connection to the fullest. Netflix, podcasts, books, speaking fees, all amplified by the Sussex name. In William's eyes, that's exactly the type of entanglement he wants to avoid.
The world, I'm afraid. So, the children suffer from the sins of the parents. And Meghan and Harry, to quote a Spotify executive, are a pair of effing grifters.
Sources claim he sees the Sussex titles as inconsistent, risky, and unnecessary. To him, they're no longer symbols of duty. They've become symbols of commerce and controversy. William is apparently very practical. The future of the monarchy matters more than individual feelings, media optics, or international fan bases. His plan is reportedly methodical and strategic, not reactive. Removing the Sussex titles is framed internally as risk management, not punishment.
Which featured her HRH title, was posted on social media and it prompted a furious backlash. Many people believed that it was a disrespectful move.
Meghan, however, reportedly sees it differently. Insiders say she interprets William's approach as a personal attack, a direct threat to her identity, and a possible erasure of everything she's built. Friends claim she has been obsessively planning preemptive legal and PR strategies, imagining media battles and courtroom dramas before any official word is even spoken.
Comeuppance when William becomes king, and the children will suffer because they won't be prince and princess. And it's a good thing, because Harry claims that he had a terrible, miserable time growing up as a royal. The glare of publicity.
Palace insiders describe her panic as understandable, but, to them, almost theatrical. They see Meghan's readiness to fight as inevitable, yet manageable. William's approach isn't about confrontation. It's about setting a precedent and maintaining the monarchy's integrity. He reportedly views threats, lawsuits, and media campaigns as part of the predictable Sussex script, no different from any other headline-making stunt they've orchestrated since leaving the UK.
Harry and Meghan using those titles after they quit the royal family. Now, many thought that Charles might take a step forward after he ascended to the throne by preventing Meghan and Harry not only from using HRH.
So while Meghan is reportedly sharpening her legal claws, William is calmly watching, confident in his plan. The palace sees her maneuvers as dramatic, urgent, and inevitable, but also, insiders say, not a serious obstacle. She may think she can intimidate the monarchy, but the truth? The Sussex titles exist at William's discretion, and if he chooses to act, nothing Meghan can do in California will stop it.
Duchess of Sussex. However, it seems like he's more eager to kind of fly under the radar, not to take any really serious steps in increasing that widening gap. But
watching Prince Andrew's title vanish reportedly hit Meghan like a thunderbolt. One friend of the Sussexes said she whispered to herself, "That could be me." And yes, she finally realized the brutal truth. Titles are not guaranteed. Especially when you live in California, openly criticize the institution, skip royal duties, and monetize a royal connection for personal gain.
Controversy as far as that whole situation is concerned. They've got other bigger things to be dealing with, including Charles's own health battles. William, on the other hand,
sources say Meghan's panic deepened as she connected the dots. The monarchy has rules, and stepping outside them, publicly, comes with consequences. The Andrew and Ferguson cases were, in her eyes, a warning shot across her bow. Losing the Duchess title would not just be symbolic. To Meghan, it would be a public demonstration that the monarchy can and will reclaim its own.
But he's frustrated and he's annoyed that Harry and Meghan continue to use their royal connections while essentially turning their back on every other aspect of royal life. So it makes sense that he is considering.
Friends report she's been obsessing over every detail. What if William moves? What if Charles supports it? How will the world see me? Insiders say she's reportedly ready to assemble her own multi-layered defense. Lawsuits, media spin, strategic leaks, and global interviews designed to portray her as a victim if the inevitable happens. In other words, she's preparing to fight every conceivable battlefield simultaneously.
Harry and Meghan from using their royal titles in the future. I think in all honesty, it's going to really be a case of where the situation lies when William does become king. Maybe by then, things will have kind of smoothed over a little bit.
But palace insiders reportedly view her panic with quiet amusement. They know Meghan is smart, determined, and media savvy. But they also know the monarchy has survived centuries of crises far larger than her melodrama. Removing a title is not a PR disaster. It's a strategic, controlled move. And while Meghan may see it as a personal war, the palace sees it as business as usual.
William and Harry will have managed to kind of reach some sort of impasse in their rift. But I think the way things are going at the moment and the way that things sit between Harry and William, it would make perfect sense that William would take that step.
Sources say Meghan's fixation is compounded by her belief that she deserves to keep all the perks without the obligations. To her, royal duties are optional, benefits are mandatory. But insiders say this attitude only confirms William's instincts. The monarchy cannot allow titles to exist as personal branding tools detached from service.
I think she's going to continue doing what she wants. Typically, Meghan and Harry don't use HRH in public. However, there have been a couple of instances over the years where the two of them have taken part.
Across the pond, the chatter about Meghan is shifting, and fast. American commentators who once praised her are reportedly abandoning caution, now speaking openly about entitlement, ego, and recklessness. One pundit supposedly said bluntly, "As an American girl, you need to shut your mouth. You're not in the UK. You're not doing the job. Why keep the title?" The criticism is no longer polite whispers. It's on air, viral, and savage.
In events, and they've been introduced as HRH. Now, in those circumstances, the kind of response has always been, we didn't have control over that. It was the choice of the event organizers, the choice of whoever was putting together this and that.
Insiders say Meghan has noticed this shift, and sources report it's rattling her. For years, she counted on American audiences to support her narrative of victimhood and injustice. But now those same voices are turning. Media allies are pointing out the disconnect. She left royal life physically, but hasn't left the influence or benefits. Critics highlight the contradiction, denouncing the monarchy while holding on to royal titles for profit and personal branding.
Use HRH, at least not when they have control over a situation. This would not be the first time that a monarch had chosen to rescind titles from members of the royal family. It's always been a bit of a touchy subject, and I think no matter the reasons for doing so, it's always perceived publicly as a kind of slight.
Palace insiders reportedly say Meghan's panic is compounded by this public backlash. The US, which once seemed like a safe space for her messaging, is now a mirror reflecting her entitlement and missteps. Commentary is savage, yet pointed. Her attempts to maintain relevance without responsibility are now being openly criticized as delusional.
So it's always perceived publicly as a kind of slight against whoever's title is being taken away. Now, in Denmark, the Queen decided to strip several members of the family of their royal title.
This shift reportedly fuels her anxiety over the Duchess title. Without public support, the palace's move to remove it becomes easier. Sources suggest Meghan has begun obsessively monitoring media reactions, plotting narrative spins, and scrambling for ways to maintain influence while simultaneously avoiding scrutiny. Friends say she's increasingly convinced that without her royal label, her voice loses weight, her projects lose credibility, and her identity unravels.
About why this had been done, who had offended the Queen, what had caused her to take this action. And I think even if you are going at it from the view of wanting to slim down the monarchy, of wanting to kind of tighten things up as far as the royal family employees are concerned, it's always going to be seen as a negative thing, and it's always going to stir up.
Sources say William has been quietly setting the blueprint for the monarchy he will inherit: slim, stable, and scandal-proof. That vision reportedly includes cutting loose any royals who don't serve the institution, who don't participate in duties, or who actively damage the family's reputation. Meghan and Harry's brand, insiders say, thrives on attacking the monarchy, telling the world it's racist, outdated, and toxic.
Now, it's interesting because in the case of William, he is fully within his rights when he becomes the monarch to remove whatever titles he sees fit.
In William's eyes, it's simple. The title exists to serve the crown, not personal ventures. Insiders claim he considers the Sussex approach inconsistent and risky. Meghan may see her title as a lifeline, but William apparently sees it as a potential liability. Every Netflix special, every book, every interview criticizing the family is reportedly noted, analyzed, and logged as evidence that the Sussex brand has outgrown its intended role.
At least as far as the British public is concerned, everyone would understand the reasons for him choosing to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles.
Sources say William's vision isn't vindictive, it's strategic. By the time he ascends, removing titles from those who have turned them into media leverage will be a carefully calculated decision. Meghan may think she can fight it publicly or legally, but insiders insist William is patient, methodical, and confident. The monarchy will survive, the titles will be assessed, and public opinion is being subtly prepared for the move.
At least as far as the British public is concerned, everyone would understand the reasons for him choosing to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. However, William may try to put a spin on it of, we need to slim down the monarchy, they chose to leave the monarchy, but everyone is going to read into it and see something more significant.
Meanwhile, Meghan reportedly struggles to reconcile her ambitions with the reality of William's vision. Friends say she obsesses over every possible outcome, imagining scenarios where she retains her title without compromise. But palace insiders see this as wishful thinking.
Cutting ties with his brother once and for all. I think this is an action that you do not come back from. So it's really going to be up to William to decide whether or not he is ready to take that final step.
The future king isn't swayed by panic or dramatic proclamations. He's not impressed by Hollywood-level theatrics. And to insiders, Meghan's dread is just another predictable subplot in a story the monarchy has weathered countless times before.
Effectively end it once and for all, because Harry is not going to forgive that kind of action being taken. Prince Andrew was stripped of his HRH titles back in 2022 following the fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal.
Sources say that William's frustration with Harry has reached new levels. According to News Nation insiders, William reportedly told friends he doesn't recognize his own brother anymore. He's petulant, angry, vengeful. I don't know who this kid is. And yes, Meghan's influence is blamed, though not in a sexist sense. Observers say Harry's priorities, temperament, and public behavior shifted dramatically after meeting Meghan.
You have to think about it as when you are born into the royal family, Prince Andrew effectively becomes your name. So he is still referred to as Prince Andrew, but the HRH bit of it has been removed. He is no longer allowed to use that in any official capacity.
Friends report that Harry now defends Meghan even when she creates disasters. And insiders suggest this blind loyalty only fuels William's concern. The brotherly bond that once defined the House of Windsor seems fractured beyond repair, and palace sources say Meghan's presence is central to that shift. The Sussex brand, critics say, thrives on controversy. And William reportedly sees Harry as a willing participant in perpetuating chaos.
With regard to the Meghan and Harry situation, obviously they have not been involved in any kind of scenario as serious as the Epstein controversy.
This breakdown reportedly affects Meghan's calculations. Friends say she interprets William's frustration as a sign that she must hold on to her title at all costs. Losing it, in her eyes, could weaken Harry's position, diminish their collective power, and reduce their ability to influence media narratives. Insiders say she's reportedly strategizing constantly, imagining ways to navigate the palace tension while still controlling her own narrative.
Look away from the emotional side of things. If you turn away from the whole rift, the this and that between the royals and the Sussexes, at the end of the day,
Palace insiders, meanwhile, reportedly view the situation as predictable and manageable. William's concern isn't personal vendetta, it's institutional. Meghan and Harry's public behavior has already created the precedent that the monarchy must act decisively to protect itself. And while Meghan may think her influence shields them both, insiders suggest that the reality is far less forgiving. William reportedly plans to let the natural consequences of titles, duty, and public perception play out, leaving Meghan and Harry scrambling in ways only they can truly feel.
Longer the CEO of that company. The HRH in Harry and Meghan's titles is given to them because they were working members of the royal family.
Sources say Meghan and Harry may imagine chaos if William moves on their titles, but palace insiders insist it will be anything but chaotic. Removing a royal title, they say, is a calculated, strategic, and surprisingly calm process.
Away from those titles and using them in any kind of capacity, whether it's private or not, particularly using them when you are promoting products from another business, is deemed to be extremely disrespectful.
Andrew's HRH removal, which caused a media frenzy, reportedly served as a blueprint for what the Sussexes might face. The palace is soft-launching the idea, letting the public adjust before any formal action is announced. It's like a royal training exercise for Meghan. The headlines will sting, but the institution won't flinch. Insiders say Meghan reportedly believes she can fight it in the courts, the press, and social media. She's allegedly preparing for every eventuality: lawsuits, strategic leaks, and media campaigns to soften the blow. But the palace sources roll their eyes. William's approach, they claim, is methodical and unbothered.
Cause enough for William, for Charles, whoever it may be, to make the decision to publicly state that that is not something that the royal family will allow moving forward. Now, the reason that this whole controversy has erupted comes down to a card that
friends say Meghan's obsession with the title's survival has her pacing, strategizing, and overthinking every possible scenario. She reportedly views it as existential. Without the Duchess title, she's just another celebrity in California. Stripped of authority, gravitas, and the influence she's carefully curated since leaving the UK. Yet palace insiders see it differently. They consider the Sussex titles conditional, not permanent, and are reportedly confident that William's plan will prevail no matter the theatrics.
Podcast on which Meghan appeared as a guest. Now, the two of them covered a wide variety of topics, much of which has served as content for headlines the world over.
Sources also suggest Meghan's media team is actively shaping narratives, hoping to sway public opinion in case William moves first. The palace, however, reportedly views these efforts as predictable, exactly what they expected. The Sussexes have played this card before: media, legal threats, and public sympathy. This time, insiders whisper, the stakes are higher, and the monarchy is ready. In short, Meghan may imagine a messy, dramatic battlefield, but insiders say William's strategy is clean, calm, and irreversible. Soft launches, public preconditioning, and timing will make the title removal appear almost inevitable, no matter how loud Meghan screams or how many lawyers she assembles. The palace is in control, and the Sussexes are just spectators to a show they can't stage manage.
Headlines the world over. It's actually the first podcast appearance that Meghan has made as a guest rather than as a host. And I think it's interesting to note that
timing is everything, and sources say William is using it to perfection. After a series of scandals involving Meghan and Harry, both US and UK media have reportedly turned against the couple. Hollywood, insiders say, is rolling its eyes, and commentators are openly mocking the Sussex narrative. Even YouTube personalities, social media influencers, and late-night shows are calling out Meghan's entitled behavior.
Either of her own podcasts. Now, the two of them got into a lot of emotional territory. Meghan actually teared up at one point while she was talking about an emotional gift that she plans to leave her children.
Palace insiders claim this shift gives William even more confidence. If public opinion no longer supports Meghan and Harry, removing their titles becomes a simple, almost inevitable move. One insider said, timing is critical. The monarchy isn't acting in a vacuum. They're watching public sentiment. And right now, the tide is turning. Meghan, reportedly obsessed with perception, reportedly notices this and is panicking.
Emails that will serve as a kind of emotional memory for the two of them so that they can recall their upbringing on this amazing Montecito property where the family lives. I think it's important to note with regard to this podcast,
even Harry, the supposedly untouchable royal, reportedly isn't immune. Insiders say commentators who once defended him are now urging him, leave, save yourself. Friends reportedly describe him as diminished, defeated, and trapped. His aura of confidence eroded by Meghan's ongoing battles. Her controversies reportedly become his controversies. Her ego becomes his burden. Her public meltdowns become the weight he carries across continents and media cycles.
Meghan has been a lot more open recently about her family life, about her role as a mother, about her role as a wife.
Sources say Harry's loyalty to Meghan has intensified his misery. Every action she takes, lawsuits, PR stunts, social media digs, is reportedly a double-edged sword. Harry defends her relentlessly, even as palace insiders whisper that each defense draws him further into conflict with the institution he once belonged to fully. Friends reportedly describe a man torn between love, loyalty, and survival, increasingly frustrated by the reality that defending Meghan often backfires spectacularly.
Wanted and supported by her husband. And that kind of dynamic has extended elsewhere too. We've seen it on her Instagram. She kind of returned to social media on January 1st, ahead of the launch of her brand.
Palace insiders reportedly note the irony. Harry left royal life ostensibly to gain freedom, yet insiders suggest he's now trapped in Meghan-driven dramas, far from the autonomy he sought. Commentators reportedly say the longer he stays, the deeper the damage becomes, not just to his reputation, but to his own sense of identity. Sources claim Harry's growing misery is compounded by public perception. Every misstep Meghan makes is amplified because of him. Every criticism directed at the Sussexes lands directly on his shoulders. Insiders say it's a lesson in collateral damage. Defending Meghan is heroic in private, but publicly, it's increasingly costly.
The children, albeit always from the back because she wants to maintain their privacy. We've seen clips of her with her mother, the two of them making food, the two of them using Meghan's jam.
The moment William ascends to the throne, insiders say the Sussex titles are as good as gone. No parliament vote, no public debate, no dramatic cliffhanger. One signature, one announcement, and poof, Duchess no more. Sources insist Meghan can scream, threaten, leak, or hold press conferences, but it won't matter. William reportedly knows exactly what needs to be done to safeguard the monarchy.
Left the royal family because they wanted privacy. They didn't want their lives to be subject to constant scrutiny. And yet here we are just 5 years later.
Palace insiders whisper that Meghan may imagine chaos, lawsuits, and international outrage, but the reality is strategic, clean, and controlled. Timing, optics, and public opinion are carefully orchestrated to ensure the transition is smooth. Friends say Meghan is reportedly panicking in California, imagining headlines, courtroom dramas, and PR wars. But insiders insist it will all be irrelevant the moment William acts.
Later, and Meghan is kind of opening herself up to various different outlets.
Sources report Meghan is obsessed with preserving her influence and public image, but the palace allegedly sees this as predictable. Every frantic strategy, every media appeal, every lawyer consulted is noted, but William's decision is about institutional survival, not individual temper tantrums. Meghan's theatrics may dominate news cycles temporarily, but insiders claim it won't alter the outcome. For all her strategic planning and media maneuvers, the Sussex titles exist at the discretion of the crown. And when William signs, the dramatic empire she's built around a royal label will collapse like a house of cards, leaving Meghan Markle to confront the harsh reality. Titles are privileges, not guarantees, and the monarchy doesn't negotiate with panic or ego.